Here is a detailed overview of some of these key topics in evolutionary biology. 1. Evolution. Evolution is the process by which species change over time through genetic variations and environmental pressures. It explains the diversity of life and is driven by mechanisms such as natural selection, genetic drift, gene flow, and mutation. Proposed by Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace in the 19th century, supported by fossil records, comparative anatomy, genetics, and molecular biology. 2. Adaptation. Adaptation refers to traits that increase an organism's survival and reproductive success in its environment. Types of adaptations: structural, physical features, for example, a giraffe's long neck; behavioral, actions that improve survival, for example, migration in birds; physiological, internal processes, for example, venom production in snakes; adaptations result from natural selection over generations. 3. Genetic drift. Genetic drift is the random change in allele frequencies in a population over time, especially in small populations. Bottleneck effect. A population drastically reduces in size due to an event, for example, natural disasters, leading to reduced genetic diversity. Founder effect. A few individuals start a new population, leading to limited genetic variation. Unlike natural selection, genetic drift is random and does not necessarily favor beneficial traits. 4. Gene flow. Gene flow, or genetic migration, is the movement of genes between populations through migration and interbreeding. Increases genetic diversity by introducing new alleles. Can prevent populations from becoming too genetically distinct. Example, wolves moving between different packs and interbreeding. 5. History of life. The history of life on Earth spans about 3.8 billion years, marked by key evolutionary milestones. 1. First life forms. About 3.8 billion years ago, simple prokaryotic bacteria. 2. Photosynthesis. About 2.5 billion years ago, oxygen revolution. 3. Eukaryotes. About 1.5 billion years ago, more complex cells with a nucleus. 4. Multicellular life. About 600 million years ago, first animals and plants. 5. Cambrian explosion, about 540 million years ago, rapid diversification of species. 6. Vertebrates and land colonization, about 400 million years ago, first fish, amphibians, and reptiles. 7. Dinosaurs and mammals, about 250 million years ago, evolution of large land animals. 8. Mass extinction, about 65 million years ago, dinosaurs go extinct, mammals dominate. 9. Human evolution, about 6 million years ago to present. Rise of primates and Homo sapiens. 6. Maladaption. Maladaption refers to traits that were once beneficial but have become harmful due to environmental changes. Example, the Irish elk's massive antlers, which may have made movement difficult, contributing to extinction, occurs when natural selection lags behind environmental changes. 7. Modern synthesis. The modern synthesis, 1930s through 40s, combines Darwin's theory of evolution with Mendelian genetics, forming a unified explanation of how evolution occurs. Key contributors: Ronald Fisher, J.B.S. Haldane, Theodosius Dobbs-Hansky. Introduced the role of mutations, genetic drift, and gene flow in evolution. Emphasized population genetics as the mathematical basis of evolution. Mutation. 8. Mutation. A mutation is a change in an organism's DNA sequence which can introduce new traits into a population. Types of mutations: beneficial, increase survival, for example, antibiotic resistance in bacteria. Neutral mutations: no significant effect, for example, silent mutations. And harmful mutations: decrease survival, for example, genetic disorders. Mutations are the ultimate source of genetic variation and fuel evolution. 9. Natural selection. Natural selection is the process where individuals with favorable traits survive and reproduce more successfully. Types of natural selection: directional selection favors one extreme trait, for example, long-necked giraffes. Stabilizing selection favors the average trait, for example, human birth weight. Disruptive selection favors extreme traits, for example, black and white moths over gray ones. It is the primary mechanism of adaptive evolution. 10. Neutral theory of evolution. Proposed by Motu Kimura, 1968, the neutral theory suggests that most genetic changes are neutral, neither beneficial nor harmful, and evolve due to genetic drift rather than natural selection. Helps explain molecular evolution and why genetic changes accumulate at a constant rate. Suggests that not all mutations are subject to natural selection. 11. Population genetics. Population genetics is the study of how genetic variation changes within populations over time due to 1. Mutation creates new alleles, 2. Natural selection favors advantageous traits, 3. Genetic drift, random allele changes, 4. Gene flow, exchange of genes between populations. It helps scientists predict evolutionary trends and understand species conservation. 12. Speciation. Speciation is the process by which new species evolve from a common ancestor. Types of speciation. Allopatric speciation. Geographic isolation leads to new species, for example, Darwin's finches. 2. Sympatric speciation occurs without geographic separation, often due to genetic or behavioral changes, for example, cichlid fish in African lakes. 3. Parapatric speciation, partial separation of populations in adjacent areas. 4. Parapatric speciation, a small isolated group evolves into a new species. Speciation explains the diversity of life and how different species adapt to their environments. In conclusion, these concepts form the foundation of evolutionary biology, explaining how species change, adapt, and diversify over time. Evolution is a continuous and ongoing process shaping the natural world that we see today.